Hi everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey. Last episode, I celebrated review 100 with a look at Nongshim's Shin Gold, and so what better way to celebrate episode 101 than with Nongshim's other new Shin flavor, Shin Green. So this is another addition to the Shin product line that was introduced in the USA in 2022 as an exclusive at Kroger-owned grocery store chains. And thankfully, for the sake of everyone like me who lives nowhere near a Kroger or one of its many subsidiaries, thanks a lot Kroger, Shin Green and Shin Gold have made their way into other grocery stores and hopefully will even be available online someday. I picked this up at my local Hmart for $9.99 for a 4-pack, and you can expect to pay about the same wherever you may find this. So Shin Black, of course, is the premium spicy beef soup of the Shin line, and Shin Gold is premium spicy chicken. So what is Shin Green? Vegan certified, spicy, mushroom, and fried tofu soup. So yeah, whereas a lot of noodles are incidentally vegan, Nongshim has gone the extra step here and had this variety certified vegan, which means that these are specifically accredited as being animal-free by a third-party agency. So that's cool for all the vegans out there. Now, I am not vegan, but I will happily eat vegan food, and I am a mushroom fanatic. I love mushrooms. I'm the kind of person who gets jazzed when I find a new species of mushroom at the grocery store, and then I go home and research the best way to incorporate it into a meal. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what Nongshim has done with this. I was just talking to one of my viewers in the Shin Gold comment section about how opinions on this pack are all over the place, like a true love it or hate it, which is why regardless of how I grade this, I do always go into exhausting detail in my reviews about the flavor and quality. Because whether I love or hate this, if what I describe resonates with you in a certain way, you can hopefully draw your own conclusions about how you'll like it before you buy it. So let's talk nutrition and ingredients. As usual for Nongshim, they do that thing where they want you to look at the sodium per serving and not per package. But this time around the sodium's not quite as bad as we've seen before. So a single pack of this is 1,550 milligrams of sodium, which is not awful in the instant noodle world and is way better than Shin Gold was. So inside we've got the typical round block of Nongshim noodles, 2 soup powder packets, and a dried flake pouch. Now the powder packets contain your spicy soup base along with a plant-based thickener and of course mushroom powder and other flavorings. The flake packet contains fried tofu, mushrooms, and I hate to say it, but dried cilantro. Don't worry, I'm not going to fill the air about how cilantro tastes like soap to me, but thankfully when cilantro was dried and then boiled, as this is about to be, it shouldn't bother me and shouldn't skew this review. I hope. Fingers crossed. Let me go cook. And here we are. Now right away, and I noticed this while I was cooking, I smell the usual Shin chili pepper, but the mushroom smell is fierce. Super strong. If you're not ride or die with mushrooms, this might be a bit much for you. You notice the flake packet was really nice in here. We've got lots of what looks to be little shiitake mushroom bits. And this is one of the fried tofu pieces. Pretty decently sized flake packet. Let's see how all these smells translate to taste. Oh my. As usual, let me talk about noodles and spice before I get to the flavor. My usual score of an 8 out of 10 for Nongshim's noodles still stands. I love the texture and quality of Nongshim's noodles because of course they are literally what got me into Korean ramen in the first place. It's worth mentioning that the slightly oily aftertaste I usually get out of these actually pairs very well with this broth. So great noodles as always, 8 out of 10. Now the spice level to me feels just a little milder than Shin Gold was. I'm not sure if that's a byproduct of the artificial thickener or just the way that this was formulated as a recipe, but it is not quite as spicy to my palate. I think this is a 5 out of 10 on spice. medium potency. And now let's talk about how good this is, because I think this is seriously good. First things first, if you want to try this, you must love mushrooms. If for whatever reason you do not love mushrooms, do not buy this. You won't like it. For the mushroom lovers among us, I'm getting a terrific combination of earthy umami from the mushroom with soy sauce and a very robust garlic and chili pepper 1-2 punch. And there's lots of great chunks of these mushrooms and fewer chunks of the fried tofu. The broth is thick and satisfying, like a really robust cream of mushroom soup with some Korean flair. The cilantro, if you were wondering, does not trigger my soap gene at all. I can't even taste it. I also don't detect any artificial flavor weirdness from the thickening agent either. The mushrooms rehydrated really well, and they are definitely shiitakes based on taste and texture. So that means they have a slightly spongier bite than, say, a portobello mushroom, along with a slightly more sour flavor. And so here's my one complaint. This is a fried tofu piece. This is a shiitake mushroom piece. They're pretty much indistinguishable. The fried tofu pieces are basically the same as the mushrooms in both texture and flavor. Now, flavor I expect because tofu takes on the flavor of whatever it's cooked with. But the texture is kind of disappointing because it's really just the exact same thing as this. It's the same kind of spongy that the mushrooms are. And if I didn't know that this was fried tofu in here, I would have assumed it was all mushrooms. There's nothing distinct about it, and because of that, I don't think it really needs to be here unless it's just a cheap way to stretch out the dried ingredients. It is otherwise redundant for all intents and purposes. Now, if it had a different bite to it, or maybe different sized pieces compared to the mushrooms, I could see a case for it. But honestly, and I say this as someone who enjoys tofu well enough, the tofu in here is a misfire. Nongshim really should have opted for something more firm to counterbalance the mushroom texture. That's really the only complaint I have. So as an overall score, I'm factoring in the tofu complaint, the terrific broth, the not insane spice level, and the excellent shiitake mushrooms. So all of that makes Shin Green an 8.5 out of 10 for me. I'm definitely buying this again. The only way I could see this disappointing anyone is if you're averse to mushrooms in the first place, or if you came here for the tofu and are about to be disappointed. If Nongshim were to switch out the tofu in the dried packet for something a little different, like maybe some crunchy garlic chips, green onion, something, this could be a perfect pack of noodles. If you're vegan and the plain old Shin Vegan or Soon cups aren't doing it for you, and yes, those reviews are coming someday, I do have both of those, you might want to seek this out. If you're not vegan but you love mushrooms as much as I do, I also highly recommend buying this. And so that's it for the newest Nongshim Shin products, and they are both winners in my book and will get some dedicated space on my shelf for when I'm in the mood. If you've tried this or are planning to, I'd love to hear your thoughts on whether or not you're a mushroom lover. Oh, and hey, thanks to everyone who stuck around for all 101 episodes so far. Now comes the trek to episode 200. Good thing there's no shortage of noodles in my house. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to help me get through the next 101 reviews, and I hope I'll see you on the next episode of Noodle Journey.